Thank you. Good morning. Well, I think all of us already get the coffee. Already? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I will sit in here. I think over there you can still see me, right? You can see me clearly. Okay. So this morning, as Pa Romora said, that we will discuss more about the travel routes and what is the next frontier that we can do in the future. So before we started, I would like to introduce and I would like to invite the speakers, the panelists for this session. And next to me is Pa Romora, who's already in here. So I will introduce Pa Romora. So before we enter the session, so Pa Romora as a chairman of this TravelByte Summit, thank you for the data that you already sent to us, and you. I'm inspiring because I'm shocking that yes, artificial intelligence is now taking over that 35%, including me actually. I'm sorry, but including me sometimes if I got confused about how to go to another destination, I'm asked the AI and then try to find out which one is the best recommended. But we need to adjust. So artificial intelligence is not working alone, but we need to adjust with what we are a human being, the understanding of us of being, we can calculate and we can arrange much better sometimes, okay? Okay, Pa Romora is one of our panelists in here. Pa Romora is a head, I will complete say about his name. Romora Edward Sitorus, PhD, and he is a head of evaluation research, dissemination, and advocacy at the Project Management Office of Prakerja at the Coordination Ministry for Economic Affairs of the Republic Indonesia. So Pa Romora is a public policy leader with more than 10 years experience in the digital transformation project, policy-making research and advocacy, public communication, education technology, and financial education. He also currently, yes, as I mentioned before, head of evaluation research, dissemination, and advocacy at Prakerja. And I can give us some highlight. What is Prakerja? Prakerja is, or we call it in Indonesian, Kartu Prakerja. Yeah, Kartu Prakerja is a large-scale and inclusive skill development program, and it launched during the pandemic. So if you guys remember, all the audience in here, remember the Prakerja is being launched in April 2020, and then a lot of impact that will be happen during the pandemic, and it's reached to 17.5 million participants and aged between 18 to 64, including women, individuals with disabilities, and those in remote areas, also part of this project or in the program. So welcome, Pa Romora. And the next I will invite Ibu Rani Kamil Williams and also Pa Satria Wei. Please come to the stage and I will introduce, give some applause. Thank you. Okay, and I would like to introduce Pa Satria. Yes, welcome Pa Satria, Bu Rani. I call Pak and Bu, yeah? Okay, Pa Satria is a director of Hospitality Indonesia at Colliers. So he's being over 33 years of invaluable experience on this investor and also property operation, and do some promptly with investment targets. So if you want to looking for another advice or something for advice for the investment for the property in hospitality, you can contact Pa Satria. And also Pa Satria is now leading as a director in the Colliers, and he really good engagement with the stakeholders across the hospitality industry. And also next, but not least, yeah, the last one, but not least, Ibu Rani Kamil Williams. She is Planning and Research Manager at Indonesia Tourism Development Corporation, or we known as ITDC. So if we remember, ITDC is in Nusa Dua and also in Mandalika, and coming soon will be in Labuan Bajo. So in Golomori, yes, I just remember the Mori. So the Ibu Rani is a professional device background. He is very interesting in tourism, hospitality, FMCG, and also the lifestyle media across various regions, including Indonesia, Maldives, Cambodia, and South Pacific. And currently, Ibu Rani is a vital member of the business development team in the ITDC. And as I said before, it's become a key tourism destination that we know, like Nusa Dua and also Mandalika, and coming soon is Golomori, yes, in Labuan Bajo. Okay, so we will start the panel session this morning. But before we continue, maybe I can introduce myself too. I'm Lani Losong. I will be moderator for this session. I'm from Kobumi, Indonesia. If you ever heard before, the Kobumi Indonesia is a social eco-enterprise owned by NGO, local NGO, and also 12 cooperatives in Eastern Indonesia. Our operation is in Papua and in Maluku, and we are focusing on agroforestry, trading, and also ecotourism. Okay, so it's really nice to meet all the distinguished panelists and also guests that are coming this morning, and I hope the weather is not become the excuse for us to come this early this morning and to engage more information and sharing through this session. So this morning, we will talk about the next travel frontier. Yeah, sometimes we say that, we know if Pa Romora said in the opening is we are talking about the roots of the hospitality, the roots of Indonesia, what's happening in the global, not only Indonesia, but Indonesia, we know the roots is we are talking about the cultural, is we are talking about the historic and the geographic of Indonesia. So Indonesia is totally different from the other country because we are the archipelago, and then we think that it's very important to well know and understand about what we will look in the future and how the challenges and the opportunities that we will leading the way when we have some sustainable tourism project, or maybe how to preserve our natural ecosystem and also with the cultural. So this discussion, maybe I will give some question to our panelists in here, and they will respond and with some of the sharing and some of the important things data that maybe can share with us in this session. So maybe for the first one, so give applause to all the panelists first. Thank you for this. Thank you for the spirit. That is the spirit of travel and tourism, right? Because we are working in this kind of industry, we need to be more spirit for that, because people say that is very fun if we working in travel and tourism. Okay, so the first question that I will deliver to Pa Satria, the opening. So Pa Satria, if we're talking with Pa Satria, we will talking about investment, investment and the opportunities that we are looking for. So the first question maybe, Pa Satria, from your perspective, Pa, what makes Indonesia as an attractive destination for hospitality investment, and how can investor maximum returns while contributing positively to local communities? And maybe this kind of perspective you can also share about the present notable investment opportunities in Indonesia from during, before pandemic and after pandemic maybe. What is the transition? So that's the question, so we can get the perspective. Thank you, Pa Satria. please.
Thank you very much. So I just straightforward answering the questions. What is the plus point that that investors is still seeing that Indonesia is one of the interesting place to invest? This is proven actually that even during the pandemic, actually we still can exist. Our tourism is still can exist. And in fact, if we are aware, and probably some of us today probably have been sharing the data with STR this morning, that it was shown that the demand of tourism is not weakened. It's getting stronger. Especially, we all acknowledge that most of our markets that used to come to Indonesia before COVID, they did not come back 100% yet. The biggest pie that we saw that is not coming to Indonesia, that is not come back to Indonesia yet, is the Chinese market. That's the biggest pie. Even Australian market that is getting stronger, and we see the statistic in Indonesia that the highest numbers of foreign tourists that coming to Indonesia until today is Australian, but the numbers of Australian that coming is not there yet. So it will keep growing. As soon as we are opening our distribution channel properly, as soon as we are opening our airports again, we add the numbers of flights again, because nowadays actually it's not easy to travel in Indonesia because of the numbers of flight is not coming back yet. For example, that I can share you, I am planning to bring the investors by end of February next month. I have to fly them from Bali to Morotai. Morotai there is only one flight in a week for Morotai, and if you have to fly to Morotai, you have to fly from Bali or Jakarta to go to Makassar, from Makassar or Manado. Sorry, Makassar, Manado, Ternate, then Morotai. This is a challenge for the investors, and if the investors see that this is a challenge, then it will be the biggest, even bigger challenge for the customers who would like to come. But this will not going to go to the bottom again. It will only grow. We've heard the opening of airport in Labuan Bajo becoming international airport. We heard about the growth of most of the national destinations. If we are comparing the destination in Indonesia now and 2018 and 19, actually most of our destination is in Indonesia were enjoying their statistics. Probably only a few markets that is still suffer, especially on the economic grade of businesses, that is still suffer on the volume wise and also on the ADR wise or for hotels. But the rest of them, they are enjoying their growth already. And the proof is that until today, actually, I'm still getting more inquiries and still receiving new investors that coming not only from overseas but also the domestic investors. They all seen that the positive trends of our country, even though they also not afraid actually, they are actually waiting of what is going to be happen with our People Party by the next 2 weeks. But everybody aware, most of the businessmen, most of the investors aware that the election is a People Party. Indonesian People's Party is a positive party. So we all seen from the first election day and from the first election until today, there is nothing happened in the election, but there is a lot of things happen after the election. But everything is still positive, and even this 2024 actually is also positive for investors. This is the data that I get myself, and also from the company, and also the growth that I see from the business.
Okay.
And the second question is?
What is the specific sector within the hospitality in industry that present notable investment opportunities? Is maybe the accommodation and maybe the tour travel or something like that most investor looking for? Boutique hotel maybe? Yeah?
Yeah. The accommodation investment is still very beautiful for the investors. Even though the investors knows that the demand and the supply now actually is nearly on the same line, but the demand is going to grow, and the new supply actually is not as high as the growth of the demand. So the investment on accommodation is still one of the investment that interested for the investors. But again, there are a lot of specification that investors are looking at, especially on the area that they would like to invest. Definitely Bali, Labuan Bajo, Likupang, or even Raja Ampat. Each of the destination actually have their own character. Not necessarily comparing between those destinations, even the same destination like Labuan Bajo, if we are talking about Labuan Bajo city and Kolomori is a different animals, is a different things. The interest right now actually is still on the 4-star and 5 stars and the luxury properties that the investors are still looking at. I even have difficulties to find a seller for 5-star hotels and the luxury. Also, the boutique hotels are also on high demand because the investment is not very high. The ROI is very fast, and actually all of the investors are doing their homework. And if we see the report end of last year, even all of the cap rate are increasing, including the office building actually is increasing. So actually this is the time that we must take the advantage to do the investment.
Okay, thank you, Pak Satria. So the investment is very positive, ya Pak. So it's not only for the accommodation, but only for the infrastructure and the buildings. And also you mentioned before that the Chinese market is not coming back yet for fully since, well, we know last year that there is another issue coming from China that the travel blocking for coming to China, or maybe the tourists coming to Indonesia, but we try to make it more better in 2024. So along with that, maybe we can continue to Burani because we are talking about investment. Yes, and it's connecting to Burani as a project, the team in the ITDC. Yeah, Burani, my question is, so we are talking about the sustainable tourism now is growing globally. And can you give us some highlights, some of the sustainable tourism initiatives that ITDC has undertaken and the development project, and how you do measure the success and impact of this initiative?
So first of all, thank you very much for the organizer for this amazing event, and thank you for you all to come here. And also I'm very honored to be here with Pak Satria and then Pak Romera and also Ibu Lani. So to answer your question, ITDC, we are a state-owned enterprise. We are under InJourney. InJourney is a aviation and tourism holding right under the Ministry of State-Owned Enterprise. And InJourney also holds, a little bit about InJourney, Angkasa Pura I airports, Angkasa Pura II airports that has recently merged into InJourney Airport Services. And InJourney also holds Taman Wisata Candi Borobudur and Ratu Boko. InJourney also holds Sarinah. So, and also Hotel Indonesia Natur that actually owns the subsidiaries Hotel Indonesia Group. So as a state-owned enterprise, we, ITDC, we are mandatory of having sustainable and also what we call TJSL, Tanggung Jawab Sosial Lingkungan, or Social Environment Responsibility Programs. So it is mandatory for us to embrace our local surroundings. For example, in the Mandalika is 1,175 hectares of tourism destination. In Lombok, in the southern coastal of Lombok, it has 16-kilometer coastal line with white sand beach, amazing uninterrupted hills, and we are surrounded by 6 villages. And within the 6 villages, there are sub-villages, or in Indonesia, we call it dusun. So it is mandatory for us to empower, embrace, and include them into our development. One of the examples that we actually have with them, not only English speaking for tourism course, and also even for the street vendors, we also actually just recently launched together with them a paguyuban. I don't know in English the name of paguyuban.
It's
Paguyuban
group, yeah?
is like a group, local
Community group.
So in order to have a direct communication and also to complete each other. Because as you all know, developing a new destination is not as easy as putting our hands back and forth, you know, and it takes time, it takes education, it takes dedication, socializing the program. And other initiative that relates to sustainability that we collaborate together with our surrounding villages. We actually have we have Mandalika International Circuit that holds Moto Grand Prix or MotoGP for 10 consecutive years. And we collaborate with our stakeholders, Ministry of Environment, and also Waste Bank, Bank Sampah, and also Black Fly Soldiers communities. So I don't know whether you have the Black Soldiers flies. Yeah, so they basically make the waste into compost, fertilizer. And then we collaborate with them to invite the surrounding villages. So they sent 700 people to basically be trained by us and then empowered, and then we give them also education relates to the waste management for the MotoGP event. Can you imagine how many, waste that actually not produce, but I can say throwing away during the event. So the 700 people from 18 sub-villages has been trained for 3 days, and then they've been given also salary, sort of base salary. And on top of it, after they collect the waste and everything, they get also an additional income. Like, for example, from the plastic that they resell to be recycled to Bank Sampah. One of the example, actually, some of them, from the money that they get, from the income that they get, from the base salary, from the collection of the waste, they bought cows for their stock farming.
Yes.
Yeah, and they got another income. So, for us, that means a lot. And can you imagine for 10 consecutive years of international, and that's only for 1 year long. Can you imagine for 10 years? And it could be, we hope that by starting with these 700 people, they could word of mouth, educate their children, their family, and the surrounding. So we could have an inclusive communities. Because at the end of the day, the Mandalika has the concept of an inclusive, sustainable tourism resort destinations in Indonesia. So, and how we measure that was also answering the question, hopefully.
Thank you, Ibu Rani, for the brief explanation about how the ITDC works in Mandalika and also in some places. And you are very concerned about the sustainable tourism and also for the social impact in the area of development. So, Bu, continue with one. I have a little question, just one question, because I'm seeing that Mandalika and also Nusa Dua and also Golomori is coming soon become a MICE, and Golomori now is running an operation, MICE, and how the ITDC maybe to get the demands on to collaborate with the cultural and also the impact. How the expectation that because the tourists willing to get the experience of cultural, but most of the development is modern one. The side. How you can allocate the authenticity of this cultural and also the modern travelers. Yeah.
Very good question, actually. Thank you. So how we balance our development in our tourism destinations. Again, I must give an example of the Mandalika. So because I'm in also DMO division. In ITDC, DMO is actually Destination Management and Operatorship division. So we hold the responsibility from the master planning, market study, market research that relates and supports the market master planning, and also data management, and also anything that relates to the how to manage, how to develop, how to, of course, include the local communities into our development in order for us to reach the ultimate goal of inclusive tourism, sustainable tourism destination. Now, one of the examples to keep the authenticity, of course, in the master plan, there is a document called Resort Design Guideline. In the Resort Design Guideline, we always encourage our tenants, or we call it investor. They rent the state-owned land that managed by us, developed by us. In the Resort Design Guideline, there is a term when we say that the building, for example, the architecture has to be infused by a local architecture, a local Sasak tribe architecture. That's for example. And second, also that it has to be in compliance with green building if we talk about sustainability. And also we encouraged our tenants or our investors to hire the local community into their workforce, because it is very successful at the Nusa Dua as well. For example, for the MotoGP, for 2 consecutive years, because we have done already together with Dorna, our MotoGP partner, 100% of the marshals, 400 marshals. Marshals is the team who does the one in the circuit, the one with the orange suit.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're marshals. 100% all from West Nusa Tenggara province. 100%. They were trained by our counterparts in Malaysian circuit Sepang. They come, Malaysian marshal, they come to train the 400 marshals. So you can go to the Instagram Mandalika Marshals. It's not run by ITDC, it's run by themselves. And can you imagine, that's only for 2 years. Can you imagine what will happen to them? And also, the volunteers for the MotoGP events at the Mandalika International Circuits, 100% from West Nusa Tenggara province. The customer, the guest, host and everything. That's only for 2 years. Can you imagine for 10 years what would happen to them? They could be one of the expert of MotoGP and maybe race director, maybe, so
and create a new
exactly.
entrepreneur.
So we think long term. So that's one of the things. And also the authenticity of the local, that's like I mentioned before, include in our Tanggung Jawab Sosial Lingkungan programs or CSR program where it is mandatory for us to always merealisasikan or realize the program together with the community, empowering the community, the 6 surrounding village, that includes also the sub-villages within. And one of the examples, 2019, we held, collaborate together with more than 20 local communities to basically promote the Mandalika in the program we called community collaborations. 29 small events with the communities. There are capoeira communities in Lombok. There are also beatbox communities. There are also the communities that reach 100 years old lontar leaf. So also the upcycles communities, the recycle communities. We organize the event together with the local communities, upcycle what we call from trash to cash. So it's like a small exhibition about the upcycle products. So that's basically, we are a community-based tourism that we learned also from our sister, the Nusa Dua, that's already 50 years old, established.
Thank you, Ibu Rani, for the very detailed explanation about how the working the ITDC contributing to the locals. And now we are talking about the investment, we are talking about the sustainable tourism, and now we are talking about the policy. Because now Pak Romora is next to me right now. Pak Romora is really represent from the government. I may say like that, yeah. So Pak Romora, I'm curious about how, considering your extensive experience in policy research and advocacy, could you elaborate the policy initiative that are crucial for improving, especially in human capital, and Indonesia for travel industry? And the second one, I have this 2 questions actually. The second one, and how do this initiative contributing to making the industry thrive for the global stage? Yes, please.
Thank you, Ibu. I think I'm very encouraged, first of all, by what Pak Satria mentioned about the very high interest from the investor to invest in Indonesia, as well as other initiative to encourage local communities by ITDC. I think it's very important to include local communities in this tourism sector. But to complement the investment as well the physical infrastructure and the community partnership, I think the key is to equip people with skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. Tourism is about giving people the right experience. And to do that, we have to enable all people who are responsible in the hotel area, in the tourism travel destinations, to be able to serve better. And Prakerja actually is a large-scale skill development program. We are an on-demand program where if you need training on certain area, you can actually apply and register for that training. So it fulfills your needs and your demands. And in terms of tourism sector, we actually have a lot of trainings on customer services. So we train housekeepers, we train receptionists, we train waitress in the restaurant to give them understanding about what soft skills and what hard skills is needed to provide service excellence. So I think the future is actually about combining investment, physical infrastructure with the right human capital. And hopefully we can continue collaborate between government and private sector to to better improve the sector in this year. Thank you.
So, Pak Romora, maybe follow-up question. Because you mentioned before that Prakerja is helping like 17.5 million people during the pandemic. So based on the numbers that you get from the Prakerja, how many percent that contributing from the human resource for tourism? Since we know during the pandemic, huge layoff happened not just in Indonesia but all around the world. So what do you perspective about that and what you're thinking?
Yeah. So during the pandemic, of course, most of our beneficiaries are those who get laid off by their employers. And this includes people who make a living from the tourism sectors. Not only those who are working in a corporate tourism or travel sector, but also small and medium enterprise entrepreneurs. And what Prakerja do is we prioritize those who lost their jobs to get trainings from Prakerja. Because during pandemic, there are more demand for Prakerja than what we can serve. And so we prioritize those who really need this. And as you know, tourism sector is the most affected sector. And what we do is we not only we give them training credits, but we also give them post-training cash assistance. So they get like 600,000 rupiah for 4 months, which they can use to further their living and maybe start online website to sell their product. Previously they sell offline, now they can try to sell online during pandemic. Yeah.
So there is a shifting, yeah, from the offline to online and during pandemic, and maybe all the participants on the floor, maybe you can see on the screen right now. We already have the Slido, and you can put your question. You can type a question, and we will deliver to all the panelists in here to answer the question. So, yeah. So this is. Just recently, like 2 minutes ago, people, it's a question about IKN, yeah? So, how do you see, I think it is, maybe I can give, how many times we got right now? 5 minutes? Okay. Maybe each of us, all the panelists can give answer like 1 minute or less than 1 minute. How do you see the future of travel and tourism? Can you close? Yeah. How do you see the future and travel and tourism industry in Indonesia after the capital city is moved to IKN? So maybe Pak Romora, you want to be the first, or because Pak Sathria. Okay, Pak Sathria. We get the perspective from the investor, maybe investor perspective, maybe. Thank Pak Sathria, please.
The future travel and tourism in Indonesia is going to remain the same. It's going to remain positive. I believe the question is, what about the capital city? What about the existing capital city? What is going to happen after we initiate the IKN 100%? Which is maybe if we really accelerate this IKN by the 17th of August of this year, we might need about 25 years to make sure that IKN is going to be as the place as Jakarta. But only for the governments and the regulators' point of view. But the activities of the tourism in Jakarta is going to remain the same. Because this has been a discussion for almost 2 years now, and we are quite occupied with this question since 2 years ago, together with within my company, the Colliers, and also with PwC, with WC, because we are doing the research of how it's going to be Jakarta in the future after the IKN is accelerated. We also work together with the Finance Ministry. We are now collecting all of the buildings that is we are collecting nearly 1 million square meters of buildings that is going to be abandoned in 10 years because the staging of the movement from Jakarta to IKN will takes about 25 years. So the first 5 years will be there is some staging that the government need to do, but in fact the business of hotels is the one that I really interested in is not affected. Even when we share this to the industry is also still quite positive with it for the next 5 to 10 years. But again, it is going to be affected when it comes to the states of 15 to 25 years. The business that is not prepared for it then is going to be declining. But if I see now, actually everybody is on the spirit to do something to make sure that they will not be left behind.
Yeah. Maybe Bu Rani want to add something?
Yeah, for me personally, coming from as a tourism destination professional, I'm very optimistic that the tourism in Indonesia will be much even stronger ever. Because remember, we are a huge, expansive archipelago. There are so many, not only emerging but developing, also new tourism destinations, be it in small scale or large scale. Can you imagine from Aceh to Papua, from the not to mention also all the national parks that we have, from the Kepulauan Rio, Tesanilo, Banten, Tanjung Lesung with the rhino and also Spice Route.
Yes.
That you also
Bandaneira
initiative. It's a melting pot of Portuguese, Dutch, and also Indonesian historical culture. So, I believe that we would pretty much be balanced in the tourism in Indonesia, that the IKN will be moved there so that there is no congestion in only Jakarta anymore.
Yeah, it's not only central in Jakarta,
exactly,
but
central
can
in
be
Jakarta.
distributed in the other
It
province.
will be positive, I feel personally,
Okay, Pak Romora, please.
Yeah, shortly.
Less than 1 minute, Pak.
Yes, sure.
Because your time is up.
Yeah. I share the same conviction with Pak Satria and Bu Rani. I think Indonesia has very much to offer, not only in Jakarta or in IKN. We have a lot of top travel destinations, and through times we will be able to encourage local people to build their own type of tourism style, and it will diversify our portfolio eventually. So I don't worry about the plan. Yeah.
So actually we have a last question. Is it possible to add one more? No? So the question is about investment, but if someone who typed it about the investment trend, maybe you can, after this session, maybe you can talk with Pak Satria, maybe, and then most probably he can answer the question. And as we only have 40 minutes and the 40 minutes is already end right now, give some applause to our panelists this morning. It's really refreshing in the morning. Even the weather is bad outside. It's raining, and then that's why we are a little bit late for start our season. And I also want to thank to all the organizer and also the panelists in front of us and all of us that attending the event this morning. And for closing, thank you. Bapak Ibu, Pak Satria, Ibu Rani, Pak Romora, thank you for coming and then to sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience, your expertise. And before we close it, I have a quick question to warm up. So three of you need to answer it fast. Okay? So be ready. Pak Satria, what is your perfect healing food for raining season? Quick, Pak. Soto. What kind of soto? Soto ayam chicken soup is like a chicken soup, yeah? So, Paromora, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Reza, by Reza. It's a song by Reza, something I forget.
Okay, forget the okay. Burani. If you have any superpower, what could it be?
Oh my God, that's a very difficult question.
Okay, just quick. Maybe you can fly or you can be a Doctor Stranger or something like that.
Okay, I'd like to be an AI.
Oh, artificial intelligence. Nice answer. And that's the end of our session. And thank you very much.